Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Hypercar Hunt. Today we are here with this, the McLaren P1, and not any ordinary P1, in this incredible garage as well, belonging to Mr. Shmee 150. This car belongs to Richard from Challenge the Road. He has a YouTube channel, which I will link down below. I want to give a big thank you to him for letting us use this car for filming purposes. Now, the car has only done 200 miles since new, so we're not going to be driving it, but I'm going to give you a very in-depth of a very, very rare car. And as you can tell by the paint, there's a good reason. In 2012, the P1 was launched at the Paris Motor Show. A year later in Geneva, the production car was revealed. Now, there were 4 cars revealed that year that were pretty substantial. You had the McLaren P1, the Ferrari LaFerrari, the Koenigsegg 1-1, and the Lamborghini Veneno. Now, this car was staggering. It was known as the Widowmaker, still is, for being the scariest to drive out of the Holy Trinity, being the P1, the LAF, and the 918. Now, this particular car has an incredible history, mainly behind the body of it. This car was originally supplied yellow, but then was later rebodied in life using the production body from VP5. That is a production prototype car, meaning it is now full exposed carbon, one of less than 20 full carbon P1s in the world. And this is the only one finished in K purple. The original owner still to this day has the bodywork. It is on a shelf somewhere looking very cool. Frankly, I think that would make some very cool artwork, but as it sits, it is a fully exposed purple carbon fibre P1, and I don't think it gets much cooler than that. Bolted to the back of the car then, we've got the 3.2 litre twin turbocharged V8, producing 903 brake horsepower and 900 Newton meters of torque. Now, considering the car only weighs just under 1.4 tonne, and this thing has some remarkable aero, as you can tell by the whopping great big wing that I'm standing next to, this thing is pretty handy on track. They weren't going for top speed here, they were going for out and out track performance, and they've also achieved a very nice aesthetic whilst being remarkably usable on the road. You're probably looking at this massive wing thinking, wow, that's a lot of downforce. In fact, the maximum downforce this car produces is 600 kg of downforce. Considering how light it is, considering the power it has, 600 kg of downforce is remarkable. Now, obviously the car is currently sat in track mode. When it's in completely normal drive the road, take it down to Sainsbury's mode, the car lifts up by 3 centimeters, the wing goes flush to the body, and it becomes a very tameable beast. That is until you put your foot down. On the front, we've got 19-inch rims with 245 Trofeo R tyres on them, and on the rear we have 20-inch rims with 315 tyres, also Trofeo R. So these are some wide boys. Fun fact for you, the headlights are shaped like the McLaren logo, and when you lock the car, they do a little flashy dance. Sitting in the McLaren P1 then, you are surrounded by satin carbon fibre. That wasn't an option for the car, it was just how it came. The only options were interior colours and so on, so the full carbon fibre roof and the eccentric lines on the dashboard, all exposed in carbon fibre. Personally, I love it. It gives a really nice textured feel to the interior, gives it a bit of race car, mixing it in with a bit of leather, makes it feel really luxurious. But also, you look at the steering wheel and you have 2 very definitive buttons. IPAS, which stands for Instant Power Assist System, which helps when you launch the car from 0 to 60, uses the hybrid drivetrain to give the car a really big boost. Now, we're going to get to the hybrid drivetrain in just a sec, but the DRS button, drag reduction system, that drops the wing and helps it meet its top speed. Now, at the center console of the car, you can see the original iris system, much like you'd have on the 12C, because actually the P1 was only the second McLaren road car ever made, as the F1 wasn't actually developed or built by McLaren, and the SLR was built in conjunction with Mercedes. So the iris system, the button on the center console, is actually a top-down view of the MTC, the McLaren Technology Centre. You have now very familiar switches from McLaren, which one handles the handling, the other one handles the powertrain or performance, and all of which are adapted. So for example, when as soon as you press active, you can change the handling to, nice and soft, and the performance to super high, which gives it, a customizable feel, which I think is really cool. You've also got the launch, race, and boost button. So there is so much configuration with it, but there is also one other mode, which is fascinating to me, E mode, or as I like to call it, milk float mode. The car will actually drive in fully electric for quite a long distance as well, but if you've got a 3.8 litre twin turbo V8, who really wants to drive around in full electric? Now, in terms of storage in the car, it is minimal. In fact, it is scarce. We have a centre area here that has technically one cup holder, and then under here you also have two more cup holders, so there are 3 cup holders in a 2-seater car. Someone's clearly drinking a lot, but you've got a bit of storage, but you don't have a glove locker. You do have a bit of area where you could technically balance things, but there's certainly no secure area to put things. So maybe 2 phones worth of storage here, but we can go outside and hop to the front where there is a pretty intriguing thing that happens at the front to open it up. I'll explain to you now. Now, if you ever find yourself in need of opening a boot of a P1, first of all, you press the button inside, then you reach down the nostrils, and there's another little button just down here that unlocks it. So in order to find out the boot space on the P1, I've called in Mr. Shmoo150 and your wonderful creations.
Shmoo the cow.
Shmoo the cow. We've got to find out how many Shmoo the cows can fit in. Let's go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So it's about 18 Shmoo the cows.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. And you can get the Shmoo the cows at Tim's eBay store, which will be linked down below, because they are pretty cool. But now, yeah, it's basically just one suitcase that's got to be a pretty weird shape in order to get in there, basically. So then, now is the time to rate it out of our 4 categories. That is usability, desirability, performance, and value. First of all, let's start with usability. Now, the good thing is, it is a very easy car to drive on a day-to-day basis. I know this, I've driven one, but usability means storage. If you were to take it on a trip, what could you do? Well, in theory, you could probably hold a soft bag, maybe 2 very small soft bags, or 1 normal suitcase in a weird shape. There is very little storage inside the car, so I'm going to have to rate it a 3 out of 10 for usability. Now, in terms of desirability, this isn't how desirable a McLaren P1 is. Obviously, it's a hypercar. We're going off numbers and comparing it to hypercars of its similar ilk, meaning LaFerrari, 918, Pagani Huayra, all of those things. Well, there are just over 370 P1s in the world, which I think is, okay, it's not a great deal. There is quite a few, but there is also some quite cool features, like some of them got full carbon bodies. There's some really unique bits out there. So in terms of the cars I would compare this to for its price range, meaning things like, when it was new LaFerrari, technically, I would say this is a pretty good scorer. I would say this is a strong 6 out of 10. In terms of performance then, this is where this car really comes into its own. Yes, okay, the car is gorgeous and the lines are just elegant as ever, but performance-wise, it's got it down to a T. As mentioned prior, 3.8 litre twin turbo V8 with a hybrid drivetrain, giving it some, basically, if you were to have turbo lag, the hybrid drivetrain will kick in. You can also use the iPass, which uses all of the electric motor and electric capabilities to be able to give it a bit of a boost, effectively helping launch the car. Now, with a top speed of 217 miles an hour, as mentioned, the top speed isn't necessarily its #1 priority. It is downforce and, achieving some lap times, but also whilst being remarkably usable. So the performance is a bit of a tricky one. If we were scoring it for just track use, it would score a lot higher. If it was scoring for top speed use, it would be scoring lower. So it's kind of got to be in the middle. So I'm once again going to score this car a 6.5 out of 10. The McLaren P1 then is a very interesting study when it comes to value. Now, the reason for this is when it was new, £866,000 was the list price. Now they're trading at about 1.2 million, but over that time scale and with inflation, that is about list price. So technically they haven't gone down, technically they haven't gone up. Yes, okay, I would have liked to have owned one. since new, you'd make a bit of money. But as I said, with inflation, it's kind of 50-50. But that also means I think it gives a good opportunity for investment because, as mentioned, McLaren are a pretty niche brand. This car was the second McLaren road car ever made, as mentioned before, because the F1 wasn't built by McLaren, it was built by a team of other people. This car represents a fascinating place in the terms of value. So, investment aspect, I think it does have ways to go. I think there is an upwards motion it could go in. In terms of buying it, I think it represents actually surprisingly good value, considering, look at the price of a LaFerrari compared to this. This looks very good. So actually, I think in terms of value, this is going to call a 7.5 out of 10. So then, there you have it, a brief rundown of the McLaren P1. Now, I've always had a very soft spot for the car. It is absolutely incredible. But could it be the next hypercar added to Zach's garage? Well, make sure to subscribe to find out, to watch another episode of the Hypercar Hunt. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. And in good spirits of here, cheers!